Jim, I got to talk to you about something later. Okay, so thanks for coming. We're holding a press conference today to brief you on the events of Friday afternoon. I'll give you a brief overview of what we have, and I will, of course, take questions a little bit later. So Friday during lunchtime at Greece Odyssey School, a Greece Odyssey student spoke to a group of kids in the lunchroom. This student showed the other students a photograph of a third student and made a comment to the effect of, he looks like the next school shooter, doesn't he? And that's what initiated this investigation. There was no threat of a school shooting. Nobody said that they were going to do a school shooting. The student simply made a comment about another student. What happened next was one of the students who heard the comment did what we teach kids to do and told somebody. And they told a responsible adult, which security promptly acted upon. They began an interview of the student with the photograph and the student who was referred to. So security began an interview of two students at the school based on this comment. School security also involved Greece Police Department almost immediately. Through the interview of these two students, a third person of interest was developed who was not a student, who was older, not of school age. This individual was identified, and he was, we spoke to him. We brought him to the Greece Police Department. We eventually brought the other two students to the Greece Police Department. And through our investigation, we uncovered what we allege in our felony complaints of a plot to attack an Islamic community in Delaware County known as Islamburg. We charged 3 individuals with the crime of criminal possession of a weapon first. I believe you have their names. We also charged a 4th individual who was 16 years of age, and under the new raise the age law is an adolescent offender. And he was arraigned in the youth park. So 4 total arrests. We executed several search warrants. Through these search warrants, we recovered 23 firearms and 3 improvised explosive devices. The firearms were found at various homes. The 3 improvised explosive devices were all located at one home, which is the home of the 16-year-old adolescent offender. This is where we stand at this time. We seized, through these warrants, we've seized numerous electronic items, phones, computers, all that need to be analyzed with forensic analysis. That is all yet to be done. So although arrests have been made, we're very early on in the investigation. I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. I'll come back and answer questions. Right now, Supervisor Bill Rylick is going to address you.
Thank you, Chief. I just would like to commend the work of the Greece Police Department, all the men and women, led by our Chief Phelan, as well as all the other law enforcement agencies that you see here today that came together to bring this to the resolution they did prior to it becoming potentially a tragedy. The fact that they came together swiftly, brought all the resources of the community together to bring this to a quick resolve in a matter of just if not hours, just a couple of days. They all should be commended, and all of our residents should be well aware that on a daily basis that they're being served by one of the finest police departments in the country, and one that is on top of situations as they develop. Our chief has met with the town hall over the past few years to continually work on ensuring the safety of the community, whether we have large events. That's always a component of our gatherings, the safety of our residents. And this is just one more example of quick and swift police work by many agencies coming together to make sure and ensure the safety of our community. So I'd like to thank all that are involved, as certainly the Greece Police Department and their diligence and their hard work through this situation.
Superintendent?
Good morning. As a school district and as a community, we're deeply saddened and upset by what this investigation has revealed. But we are also incredibly grateful about the young people who refuse to stand idly by. Students trusted their instincts and what they've learned from us at school. These students came forward with information supporting the idea that if you see something, you say something. Their actions change the narrative. Our school system has long prioritized safety. Our partnership with the Greece Police Department is unparalleled. School resource officers have been working in our buildings for more than 5 years, and we have a team of dedicated school security officers, many of whom are former law enforcement. They provide extensive training to our school staff in our buildings around general school safety, threat assessment, and emergency response preparedness. Additionally, staff in our schools have developed meaningful relationships with our students. That trust, accessibility, and mutual respect was a difference maker in this situation. As a community, the situation reinforces the idea that safety is not the responsibility of one person or a small group. We must all do our part to ensure the safety of others. Parents, please look for changing behaviors in your children and talk to your kids about the importance of reporting anything suspicious. You can always call your child's school or our Safe Schools helpline at 1-800-418-6423, and this is all on our website as well. The outcome of this investigation proves that our system works. I want to emphasize that our schools are safe because of the actions of many. And I also want to personally thank Chief Phelan, our Director of Security, Steve Chatterton, and all of the staff who worked on this through Friday and this whole weekend. They've done an incredible job. I would also just like to address our community, because there are a lot of families who are concerned about communication and wanting more and more information. It was something very important to us that we not compromise this investigation. We've worked collaboratively with the police department since right away on Friday, and it was clear that we needed to not share information. So as a school district, that wasn't our information to share, and we really took the lead of the police department and feel incredibly comfortable that our kids are safe and that we're doing the right thing as a community.
Good afternoon. I'll be brief. What you saw and what's been talked about is a demonstration of collaboration of law enforcement agencies that now work together. So it's not important the uniform, it's important the mission. So you saw many different uniforms, federal, state, and local, combined services, combined forces to work together to bring this to a quick resolution in a matter of hours. So this demonstrates the collaboration, the importance of departments working together and how this works so well in Western New York. And we have an outstanding relationship with the Greece Police Department as well as the other agencies. And so that's why it's so vital. So you'll see many different uniforms in different agencies. But at the end of the day, it's one team and one fight. And what happened potentially stopped a catastrophic event from transpiring. And that's vitally important. Thank you.
So I should just mention briefly that as we worked this case through Friday afternoon and into Friday evening, it became apparent that we had multiple suspects, multiple locations where we wanted to serve search warrants, and we had a lot of work on our hands. We reached out for assistance from other police agencies. State police, as always, were very willing to help. The FBI came out, the ATF, other agencies, the Rochester Police Department, the East Rochester Police Department, the Gates Police Department. So we received a lot of help from our partners, and that's how we get stuff done here in Monroe County, and it's a great thing to be a part of. We're very fortunate. I guess I will take your questions at this point.
Chief, you talked about an alleged plot. What was that plot, and what role did the incendiary devices have in that plot, and also maybe the firearms?
So the district attorney's office, and I agree with them, that they would prefer that I not get too deep into the facts of the case because they still have to prosecute it. But Obviously in the felony complaint, we allege that there's a plot against the Islamic community. There was a plan to attack this community with weapons.
Was it written down? Was it
Hold on, I'll take everybody's question. No, I'm good. No, you go ahead. No, you go. I'll take you, and then you know me. I'll stay here all day.
Was there a specific plan that was written down? Was there something on their phones that indicated?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't want to get too deep into the facts of the case, but through our investigation, we did do interviews. We did get a look at some of their electronic devices. We haven't done a full forensic exam, but the evidence led us to this conclusion, which we wouldn't have come to any other way, that they had planned an attack on this community.
Can you see how close they were to carrying it out?
I don't know that they had a specific date. It was they had a plan in place.
Chief, the nature of where you found what? You said 23 firearms, 3 IEDs. Looks like the suspects in the court paperwork were all arrested in the same location. Was that a hub where you believe they would meet to work on this type of thing? Or was all of that in one centralized location?
No, they were not all arrested in the same location. They were all arrested here. Most of them came into the office cooperating with the investigation. We served search warrants at, I think, 5 or 6 different locations. We found firearms in almost every location that we searched. And once again, the bombs were all in one location. That was the home of the 16-year-old.
And were the firearms shotguns? Were they handguns?
Shotguns and rifles. They were all legal weapons. They were all, there was no assault weapons. They were all legal rifles and shotguns.
Were they owned by any of the suspects?
We haven't done a full background check on all the ownership of the weapons. The suspects had access to these weapons.
Was Greece police or local authorities aware of any of this prior to learning from Odyssey of this one reference?
No. In fact, the initial investigation was about, the comment made by the student, which, you call it a threat, but it wasn't really a threat. But that was our investigation, and then our investigation took us to this plot that we had no idea about.
How did that happen?
Well, it's through the evidence that we were able to gain in our investigation. Like I said, I can't tell you exactly how we came to that conclusion, but like I said, we did multiple interviews. We examined some of their electronic items, and through those venues, we were able to uncover that this was the plan that they had.
The 3 older suspects all attended MCC. Is there assistance being lent by the college in your investigation?
I wasn't even aware they all attended MCC, so we haven't reached out to MCC yet. So.
How did they know each other, and what sort of were their roles in this relationship? Was somebody sort of the ringleader, or that kind of thing?
There were people in the conspiracy that had probably a bigger role than the others. I'll let the prosecutors decide if there was a ringleader. But I would say that there was varying degrees of involvement. There was varying degrees of who was coming up with the ideas and who was agreeing to them. But obviously, you have a conspiracy with 4 different people involved, and possibly, I got to tell you right now, possibly more. We may find through further investigation that there are more people involved.
The IEDs themselves, did they have triggers on them? Do you know what was inside them? Do you know whether they were actually able to have been set off?
They were homemade bombs. They're being examined right now at the FBI lab in Quantico. So they'll determine if they're actually able of exploding. But they were homemade bombs with various items, black powder, BBs, nails, that type of thing, inside a container.
To confirm, back to Greece Odyssey, the original comments, and then that led to the person who was being commented about. Was it that second person who was the youth offender in this plot?
Yes, one of the adolescent offender is a student at Greece Odyssey. He was one of the
referenced as the next.
He was one of the original 2 people that we began the interview with, and that's the only Greece Central School student that we arrested. The other three are not students. Two of them had attended Greece Central Schools. One of them was actually a subject of discipline in 2015 and did not attend after that.
What kind of discipline?
I can't tell you what kind of discipline. He attended Vincent Ventreville attended Greece Arcadia in 2015, and he did not attend after that. He was removed from school.
Can you confirm 58 Milford Street was the place where the IEDs were found?
Yeah, that's correct.
Two of the families.
One second, I'll get you.
Chief, the families of two of the suspects have told me that they are on the autism spectrum. Are you aware of that, and is that a mitigating factor here at all?
That's possible. I mean, I'm not a doctor. It's certainly possible. It's something that we'll explore during the prosecution phase. But you know, I don't know that.
Question for the superintendent.
I didn't forget you.
Did any of the former students and the current student at Greece have an IEP?
I'm not aware if they had an IEP. One of the students was a Gates student who was actually attending a BOCES program with us, so I'm assuming that there was some IEP there, but it really was considered, that student was a Gates student, not a Greece student. So in the other three, I don't think so.
That student who was in Gates, are you aware that that student is on the autism spectrum?
I'm not aware of that.
Question for the prosecutor, if possible. Sandra, I think everybody will see this and hear what the chief is saying about what their intention was, and wonder if there are terrorism charges coming. Obviously, I know those are federal charges, but what is the communication with the U.S. Attorney's Office at this point, and where do we go from here?
Actually, we're working hand in hand with them. Brett Harvey from the U.S. Attorney's Office is present. You know, it's probably going to be a case where, you know, we go forward because we can do it quickly on the state side, and we'll secure indictments, and then we'll work with the feds and see where these cases should be best prosecuted.
Chief, if I could get back to the other question.
Yeah.
And the adolescent offender, how did he come to your attention in all of this? I've been confused.
He was one of, I know, it's kind of a convoluted story. It's hard to explain. The adolescent offender was one of the two original students that we contacted at Greece Odyssey.
Was he the one who came forward with the photograph and said, this looks like the next school shooter?
You know what, Steve, you can probably answer that better than me.
So, can you repeat the question one more time?
The adolescent offender who was the student, was he the one who had the photograph and was showing it around?
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
He had the photograph. He was not in the photograph.
He was not in the photograph. He's the one that made the comment that the other kid looked like a school shooter. That's what we revealed in the investigation.
And the person in the picture is not related at all to this situation, or
The person in the picture was part of the initial investigation. He was the first student we interviewed. So upon learning of the information from the witnesses who reported it to our security staff, he was the first person brought into the office, and that's what started the investigation.
Did that person
he one
lead
of
you?
the people that was involved in any of this?
He was involved in the investigation. He was not charged. The initial person we spoke to was not charged.
Did he lead you to the three older suspects?
Any relation?
Did he lead you with any of the?
Yeah, I'll go
any
to
of
the police department from there.
During those interviews, to one of the three adult suspects.
So the initial interview at the school led to one of the adult suspects, and then further investigation that day led to the other two. Does that make sense?
So the juvenile offender who was part of this whole process, essentially what he did blew in their whole plan.
Yep, that's correct.
Is that his intention?
I don't know. I don't know what his intention was. You know, I mean, they talk about when you do threat assessment. You know, we've implemented a robust threat assessment program in Greece in connection with our school district. And when you do threat assessment, they refer to a term called leakage. It's where people leak parts of plots, and I guess the idea is that maybe they want it to get stopped. But I can't get into his head and tell you why he did it.
In your investigation, have you figured out why these young adults are targeting an Islamic community hours away from here?
I can't tell you why. They would have to answer that. I can't really tell you the why. I can only tell
Is there
you.
anything that points to, that's showing you why they might pick this particular community versus something closer to here, or?
I think further investigation, like I said, we're not done, and I think further investigation, further examination of their electronic items might help us with that. As I stand here right now, I can't really tell you why.
Did you uncover an app called Discord that they were using to communicate these things with each other?
Yes, that's the app they were using. It's a messaging app.
And in what way is it being used?
It's just an app on their phones that they were using
Were
to.
they using it to play games, or were they using it in furtherance of this, I guess?
Yeah, they were using it to have a conversation about this.
How long do you believe they were planning this for?
It appears it's been going on for about a month.
So they were able to pull together 23 guns and 3 IEDs in a month.
It looks that way, yes. Yep.
Did they own those firearms? Or did someone in their family own those firearms?
They had, we're talking about 23 guns. So they had access to these weapons. Some of them were their fathers, some were their grandfathers. Some of them I think they purchased themselves. So I think that as far as ownership, every spectrum is hit.
One of the suspects worked at Home Depot. Did the materials for the IEDs come from that store?
I have no idea where the materials came from. I don't know. We'll find that through investigation. Like I said, it's on its way to the FBI lab in Quantico. I don't know where the materials came from.
How was it you determined where their attack was going to take place?
Yeah, it's the same question that I can't answer. I can't tell you all the facts of the investigation. I can only tell you that our investigation uncovered the plot to make this attack through our interviews and through our investigation.
Did you find any evidence of sort of hate speech or anything on any of their phones or through this app that they were using?
Like I said, we got a peek at their phones during the investigation. We did see some material that was, I would say, disturbing and suspicious. But as far as specifics on that, I'm gonna let the experts do a full forensic exam of these electronic items, and we'll have more answers once we do that.
Can you clarify who has those items now, the electronic items?
We have possession electronic items. We'll be turning them over to a forensic laboratory to have them examined. But at the moment, they're at Grease PD.
Can you quantify what you have?
We have a lot. We have phones, computers, pretty much any electronic device that you can store data on. So when we execute a search warrant, generally we try to collect that type of evidence, and we did in this case. So we have quite a few electronic items that we have to examine. You know what? I don't have a number for you. We have 5 search warrants. Everybody had at least one phone. Everybody had at least one computer. So you're talking a dozen right there, anyways.
You say 5 search warrants.
Was it 5? David, 5? Yeah.
You have 4 suspects. Where was the 5th warrant executed?
We executed a search warrant at the home of a person of interest that was not charged at this time. Like I said, there could be more charges once we further this investigation. That's okay.
How do you believe they all knew each other?
Okay, so at least 3 of the 4 were in Boy Scouts together.
2 of them were Eagle Scouts.
Correct.
How do you go from being an Eagle Scout to being involved in an alleged plot?
I don't know. I don't know. It's very disappointing.
Has the FBI or anybody had communications with the Islamic Center that was a target of this attack? Has there been any warning to them, or were you guys able to?
We made a notification to the state police troop that has jurisdiction in that area on Friday night, so they were aware of the plot, so that they could be at the ready to make sure that if anything happened, they were ready and aware of it. I don't know that we've made any contact with anybody from the Islamic community. at this time.
Moving forward, is the Grace Police Department going to be the lead agency on this?
Yes, yeah. We're handling the investigation. Like I said, we've gotten a lot of help from our partners, and you know, in Monroe County, we really don't worry about, you know, who the lead agency is and who gets the credit. We really do. We just roll up our sleeves and we work together. But yeah, it's our case. We'll be working with all these partners standing behind me. And like the district attorney said, we had a meeting this morning with the district attorney and the U.S. attorney, and we're all going to work together on this. That's just how we do things.
We don't know whether they would have actually gone through with it, but it looks like they had everything in line and prepared. Do you really credit those students sitting at that lunch table for possibly saving lives?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They save lives. If they had carried out this plot, which every indication is that they were going to, you know, people would have died. You know, I don't know how many and who, but people would have died. So the kid that initially said something to an adult saved people's lives. And you know, the lesson here is that we tell kids this all the time. We say, if you see something, say something. You got to report anything suspicious. The lesson is that it works. I mean, this was a nice job by everybody involved. The kids did what they were supposed to do. Security did what they were supposed to do. They involved the police very quickly, and everything worked, you know, and as a result, nobody's dead, you know, and that's, you know, that's a good story. You know, it really is.
What do authorities know now that makes them believe that this group is going to head to Delaware County and do so?
Our investigation gave us every indication that that's what they were going to do. They have.
But you don't have a date.
No.
So,
No.
So what
There-
made you think that?
All I can tell you is the information that we have obviously leads us to believe that that's the case. That's why we charged them. And they have, you know, really the basis of the charges is the weapons that they possess in order to further this plot. It's really not, they're not charged with the plot itself. They're charged with possession of the weapons that they intended to use in the plot.
Are they part of a larger group? Are there other people?
There very well may be. You know, we may make additional arrests. You know, that forensic analysis of electronics is going to play a big role, and I wouldn't rule it out. There's certainly a possibility that there were more people involved.
Additional charges for these
That's also possible. It's possible there may be federal charges. We're still working all that out. There's certainly the potential for federal charges. So that's certainly a distinct possibility. Like I said, we have to let this play out a little bit.
I know that you guys did a lot of really great work, and this is, you know, a lengthy and extensive process, but we've heard from a lot of parents in the community who, and you addressed this, who were really concerned and really sort of frightened by the situation and having information withheld from them. So, I mean, what really was the whole process here from the arrest made over the weekend and taking, you know, up until 2 o'clock today to make all this information known to people? You know, what was the point behind it?
Yeah, well, you know what? The difficult thing about investigations is a lot of time they have to be done in secret, you know, and or else the investigation will fail, and that's the reality of life. So you try to always balance that. You know, this came to light on Friday afternoon. By the time, you know, we really got into this, it was after school. There was nobody in school Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There was no one in school. So there was certainly nothing to be concerned about. This morning we had a Greece police officer at every Greece school to make sure everybody felt like they were safe. There was never a threat to any Greece school at any time. The initial statement was not a school threat. It was simply a statement that said that this kid looks like a school shooter. And that was the only comment made. So what we unveiled was not a school threat. So there never was any school threat of any kind. We set a press conference for today so we could update people as soon as we could, and that's the best we could do.
Even though a student was involved, you guys don't believe there was ever a threat to any of the kids there? I mean,
They didn't
they
make.
could have brought it with them to school, you know?
They didn't give us any indication they were going to do that. They made no threat to the school. I mean, anybody could do anything, but there's no evidence to that effect. guys good? Did I forget anything? Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.